Hi everyone, Danny here with Ground State Tarot, coming to you with the Lunar New Year Fire Horse main energy for 2026 reading for ISFP adventure types using the 16 personalities test, which I will include a link to when I post the video on YouTube. Fire Horse energy is about taking bold action, passionate momentum, that independence, that fierce independence. It's about also making sure that you don't veer into impulsive action, erratic action, chaotic action, rebelliousness. But there is a propellant energy to this year, unlike 2025. So it's important to try to use that to your advantage. As a reminder, the first card will be your optimal energy for the year. Second card will be the suboptimal energy. Third card, point of stagnation. Fourth, the way through. Fifth card, advice for assertive types. Sixth card, advice for turbulent types. And we begin your reading with guidance. Help is on the way. And the Red Baron, which I will read later from the Peanuts deck. So this is a really fascinating reading. I have to be really honest, because the way that I designed this spread, it's optimal energy, suboptimal, point of stagnation, the way through, right? And then the advice for the types. When I get a card like the Devil, which is typically a card that has a negative connotation to it, it's got a very tricky, dense energy associated with it, not typically a positive card. It's really fascinating when I put myself in a puzzle, because this is like, okay, how am I going to find the silver lining here? And you know what? There is. So just follow me on this. This is the vibe I'm getting, okay? And I hope it resonates. Your optimal energy this year is actually leaning into putting up a little bit more of a fight with this Devil energy. Defending yourself a little bit more. Not being a pushover. Not letting people walk over you, not letting people take advantage of you anymore. It's setting a hard, loud boundary is what I'm getting. It's a really interesting counterintuitive interpretation of the Devil card. There seems to be a need to have that fire lit within you at this time. You're feeling as though you need guidance, you need help. You're feeling as though you're being put in a precarious situation where you might not have everything that you need. You feel that you need some kind of external help. But in reality, what's really causing this uncertainty is the suboptimal energy, which is this risk of leaning into paralysis of analysis, a certain inability to move, to be decisive, also to have faith. The point of stagnation is being overwhelmed by your burdens, by your responsibilities, being overwhelmed by the weight of all of the things that rely on you, while at the same time wondering if all of this carrying of said burden is worth it, if it will lead to anything. If you are actually doing the right thing by remaining meek, by remaining sort of quiet about whatever the situation is that is making you feel a little helpless. The way that these two dogs are expressing their energy, it's letting me know that there's a little bit of a softness to your energy that could be counterproductive this year. And so with the fire horse energy being about that fiery momentum, it actually is telling you to lean into your faith with the Hierophant. Lean into that wisdom. Lean into the traditions that help instill the infrastructure of spirituality, so to speak. Especially in times when this feeling kicks in, that helplessness, that being up against a wall, between a rock and a hard place. It's combining your fire, your passion, your fight with your faith. It's not choosing between the two. It's learning to harness fight and faith to break through this impasse of, again, being taken advantage of, being seen as indecisive, as passive, as not actively participating in the unfolding of your life and letting life happen to you, as opposed to pushing back and saying, you know what, no, I'm going to participate in this and I'm going to co-create with you. I'm not going to let life be imposed on me or let external situations be imposed on me. I'm going to take charge of my life, give it a direction by leaning onto faith. The faith that has carried others through difficult times is the infrastructure that will give your fight a sense of purpose and a sense of focus. With the Page of Swords, right, being focus. Focus will be your best friend. An inquisitive focus. Staying mentally sharp. Using this fight to not burn too unwieldy. Unwield. Not let it completely burn out of control is what I'm trying to say. You really want to harness this fight into that sort of sharp, inquisitive, curious focus to try to find the resources, the help, right? Not just sit on your butt and hope for help to come to you, but you actually go on the adventure, exploration of figuring out the information that might help you get through this. The spiritual knowledge that might help you break through, again, this impasse, this feeling of being overburdened, overwhelmed, intimidated by the situation. Finding a way to sneak through, crack through is also what I'm getting. I don't know why this looked like a crack to me, but it's really ants. But it's still driving home the same idea, actually. Finding a crack, finding like that little seam that you can squeeze through. And because it's a page, it kind of slip, right? It's not quite a knight, so it doesn't have all this like annoying, obnoxious armor, which makes it loud and clanky and very obvious. You're able to slip. So it's becoming more cunning and strategic in how you deal with this situation. And the advice for the turbulent types with the Lovers, it's again really driving home this idea of unifying the fight with faith. The dark with the light, right? This dark dog with the lighter dog, the sun, the moon, the unification of opposites so that a third, higher aligned, better balanced, more integrated third option can emerge. And that in and of itself becomes your help, your higher purpose, your higher self that you can trust. And there's this sort of building up. There's a hierarchy to this wisdom because it's been foundationally set and then built upon right? So by the same token, you need to recall back your energy, your fight and your faith, unify it to see your way through. How do I know this? Because at the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. This is indeed about reconnecting with your intuition, reconnecting with your heart, reconnecting with your sense of spiritual sovereignty. The spiritual sovereignty that allows you to be your own guidance, be your own help in situations where you know, no matter how much you wish for that external aid, it won't come in time. You have to kind of help yourself, save yourself until that assistance comes. But at the end of the day, it is important to remember that we have the internal tools, the internal connections to all of the different elements around us: nature, love, joy, our intuition, spirituality, the things that help us carry this load easier and have faith in moments of frustration and self-doubt. And with the Red Baron from the Peanuts deck, let's see what the rounded out message is. The Red Baron. 33. Okay, here we go. Shrouded in evil and flying over the French countryside, we may never see your face, but we know the sounds of you coming. It's the Red Baron, the Flying Ace's arch rival. Like most of the world's villains, we will never know what you look like simply because our worst evils tend to come from within. Confront the mystery and all the negative thoughts that race around in your head. Although it may seem easier to have a flying shootout over Europe, this card truly tells you to search for your inner villains and confront them head on, preferably with good aim. Ha! Yes, indeed. Often, it is our own inner demons that end up getting the best of us. It is our own self-doubt, our own worry, our own anxiety that ends up creating this inability to trust that your efforts will actually pay off, and inability to trust that you can carry this load all the way to the end and see things through, because just when you think you're gonna lose faith, you're gonna lose your fight, that third thing emerges. That sign, that aid, that uncanny help out of nowhere, whatever it is, that sudden trust in your own intuition, right? That ability to confront, whether it's external circumstances that are making you feel oppressed, or whether it's an internal entanglement that is making you feel toxically stagnant. It is time for you to realize that you have much more to offer yourself than you might be giving yourself credit. And by the same token, there's much more that you can offer to others from your own experience of having to find integration to see yourself through. That is powerful guidance that you can always fall back on for yourself, and as the wisdom that you can pass on to others.